Good evening, afternoon, night, morning, whenever you find a way to watch this podcast. It is me, Omar Rashan T. Borja, the Burger Popper, joined by a good friend, a longtime friend of the podcast, Bobby Wilson, the TNT College Football Podcast, for another week of Lambert Trophy discussion of the past games, the results, and the upcoming week ahead, and the race where it stands in week 4. I mean, something that we talked about in our first take, because this is our second take, but in our first take is just how quickly the season seems to be rolling along. I mean, some teams are playing their fourth game for week 0 teams. I don't know if there's any teams right now that are in their fifth game that but it's a fifth week for week 0 teams. But man, we're already almost a third of the season done, and it always seems to go by so fast. But Bobby, thanks for joining. How's everything going?
It's going great, Omar. Thanks again for having me as always. And it's a rough week for me and my team, that's for sure. But hey, kudos to Delaware for getting the dub. Got to give them credit where credit's due. We can dive into that game when it's time.
Yeah, I guess on the bright side, though, you guys were the headlining game on college football final. I mean, I forgot to mention that in our
Yeah,
first take.
that's
That's
true.
always
That's true.
to
True.
be the opener. So glass half full, always a glass half full person. So just an entertaining week, a lot of surprising results. So I guess we'll just get right into it, talking about our polls. So Bobby, for your poll, for this week, a lot of movement, as was the case in both of our polls. So we got Penn State number 1, Navy slides back up to number 2, and I will say that Navy kind of got off to a rough start, but I think they really showed qualities of an elite team and just being able to bounce back after just honestly really disastrous start against Tulsa. You look at the box score and you would think that nothing even happened, but Navy recovered and did well, as the service academies have proven that they can do this year. Rutgers at number 3, which is a huge surprise, but this is kind of where things stand because I know we talked about before going live that ranking 3 and 4 all the way down to 12 and 13 is just
Hmm.
a huge variation. You can have argument for anybody there. So Rutgers
Right.
at 3, Syracuse at number 4, Army at number 5, West Virginia at number 6, Buffalo at number 7, Pitt at number 8, Delaware at number 9, Temple at number 10, UConn at number 11, Boston College at number 12, and then UMass. UMass is the only constant. No offense, sorry to my friends out there in Amherst, UMass Nation, but man, it's just been a rough year for you guys. I hope you guys end up in the win column. I know I expected Iowa to score less points against you guys, but against the Minutemen. But man, just a rough year. I just hope that Coach Harrison can figure it out at some point because they are dying for where they're in Amherst. But with that, Bobby, which program surprised you in a positive way the most this past weekend?
It's got to be West Virginia. The upset over their rival Pitt. Backyard brawl did not disappoint, that's for sure. I think we can both say that didn't expect to see that. I know it was in Morgantown, and but happy to see Rich Rodriguez and company get that win. I think it's going to be a real stepping stone for them moving forward. Puts them in a spot, and they've already kind of been there because of conference play, but they have a real opportunity in front of them to do some things now, and I'm looking forward to see that. We know Rich Rod in his last year there at West Virginia and that epic game against Pitt and what it meant back then. So I know that one had to feel so good for him. As a former coach myself, I felt really good for him because I've been there. I've been in that spot, and I know how big those ones are.
Yeah, absolutely. I know West Virginia surprised me pleasantly. I mean, I know I kind of wrote West Virginia off as much a lot of people did. Much of the country probably wrote West Virginia off after losing to Ohio. Even though Ohio is one heck of a team, they've shown it so far in all
Really
three of the
good team.
conference games. Yeah, I know you are. You are not shy in praising Parker Navarro. But that team
Hmm.
is sensational. Like they even the first 3 quarters against Ohio State, they were neck and neck with the Buckeyes before the Buckeyes pulled away, made it look a little bit pretty for the college football playoff committee. But yeah, like I wrote them off. I mean, West Virginia had such a great bounce back against the Panthers, and I'm excited for Rich Rod's second tenure. I mean. It may not be the Big East. It may not be how it looked in 2007, like you said, but um, And I think it was poetic, like you said, with just
Mhm.
the last backyard brawl that Rich Rod coached did was that game against Pitt, and here we are now. Revenge is a dish best served 18 years later.
Yeah, kudos to him. Great job.
Yeah. So I guess going on to a more negative side. So which team surprised you, or which team disappointed you the most this past week?
I mean, I think everybody knows where I'm going here. It's got to be UConn, and I'm not going to dive too much into it. You can listen to my show with Pete Callen. Every week we do a UConn football show. It's disappointing to see just the lack of execution on the defensive side of the football that we had against Delaware. I don't want to take anything away from Delaware. I don't, because they played a fantastic football game, and I want to give them all the credit for winning that game. And Delaware is a good football team. Um, I, I just I question if we took them lightly. I question just like I said, the lack of execution just was not good, and something that I just didn't expect to see.
Yeah, I think honestly, I wouldn't say a lot of people are disappointed with UConn in a bad way because UConn can still have a great season, but I know we were
Mhm.
talking about the high hopes, for could UConn win 10 games, could they win 11 games, could they contend for the Lambert Trophy? But yeah, just a devastating blow. And I mean, I still got to listen to you and Pete to recap of the game, but I understand your disappointment too, with especially a team that is new to the subdivision, even though Delaware has got all the resources in the world, got all the talent in the world,
Mhm.
clearly. It is frustrating, but man, I think, it's just funny how we're talking about UConn, how we can build teams up and then tear them back down as the media. I mean, this is still a team that has a shot at a special season, especially the way
Oh,
that
absolutely.
yeah, especially the
Yeah.
way Boston College looked. I mean, that's another win that can just define the season for them, and in kind of in the same way that it did in 2022 when they shut down Phil
Hmm.
Dracovic and that Boston College team. I guess
Yeah.
just looking
Yeah.
ahead, but yeah, I got to agree with you. I think for me though, that's a good segue for my poll and for who I was pleasantly surprised with this past weekend. So going on to my poll, so I got Penn State number one, Navy number two, Rutgers number three, Delaware sliding all the way up to number four because you can't. I don't think you can penalize Delaware for being competitive against Colorado in the altitude. Um, so I don't think you can really penalize them for that. Like they weren't really embarrassed. Army at number five with the win over Kansas State. West Virginia at number six. Syracuse at number seven, Pitt at number eight, UConn at nine. I think Pitt and UConn are in a similar position right now just because of the fact that they each have a win over NEC school, and but Pitt has the edge with the FBS win. I got Buffalo at number 10. We'll talk a little bit later. I don't. I guess I'll spoil, um, you know, some of my thoughts later on. But Buffalo with a really kind of surprising in a bad way win against Kent State. Temple at 11, Boston College at 12. Just looking at their resume, I mean, they only have a win against Fordham right now. So, for judging off that, I mean, I really don't think you can reward Boston College that much, even though they looked good against Michigan State. And then UMass at 13. So, for the team that I was pleasantly surprised with the most is Delaware, honestly, because I expected it to be a competitive game. I expected the Blue Hens to compete well, but I just didn't think they would pull it out, to be honest with you. But man, if you talk about the quarterback position, like Nick Minakuchi, like I don't know if they had the wrong guy starting the whole time. But man, Minakuchi has looked great so far as the number two guy. Could have like a little bit of a Tom Brady situation, and the run game too. Like I don't know where Delaware keeps getting these running backs like Marcus Yarns and then now Joe Silver having an absolutely insane game, over 10 yards of carry against UConn, but against the Huskies. But man, like Delaware looks like a bowl team in Conference USA. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe the Florida International game will show whether I'm overreacting or not. But this team looks like that they can reach 6 wins and make a bowl if there are not enough bowl eligible teams as NCAA requirements says for transitioning teams. But yeah, Delaware is the most pleasant surprise because if you look at it, you can make an argument for them having the fourth best, I guess, resume in terms of accomplishments so far in this short 3 weeks. I don't know. It's just so crazy how things just fluctuate with the polls.
Well, it's like you said, 3 through 12 is just really difficult to kind of pinpoint, put teams. It's like you said in the intro. I mean, you could argue all these teams for different spots. I mean, it's a very, very competitive race this year. I think 1 and 2 have been very obvious thus far, even though I moved Pitt up last week, but Navy obviously has proven that they're a formidable team. Then I mean we don't need to continue to pile on UMass, but I'm really pulling for those guys there. They have a great fan base, and the wins will come. I really believe that they will. It's just going to take a little time to get things rolling again. But I guess the one thing that I'm a little concerned about necessarily is Penn State just going to run away with this, just because of the sheer fact that I mean, we all know that they have an advantage being in the Big Ten, but the fact that they are what seems to be leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else, I just I'm a little worried that this race could, especially Navy's kind of looked every now and then against UAB and then Tulsa last week. There's been a couple times where you're like, man, this is a little too close, a little too competitive. Um, is Penn State just going to run away with this? I guess we'll see. Obviously, time will tell.
Yeah, so I will say one thing, I guess, play devil's advocate from a perspective as an Army fan,
Mm-hmm.
and for the sake of your argument, I guess I can pull off these polls. I think that what Navy has shown recently has shown the traits of a more developed, more experienced team. Because if you look at how the Tulsa game started, it started just like the Notre Dame and Rice games where they fell behind, they turned the ball over, they were beating themselves. But the only difference was like Navy flipped the switch and they kind of instead of how I guess not relying on big plays, being as funny as it sounds, a quick strike offense and just having that explosiveness that they've been prone to have, or I guess prone's not a good word, but they often have in Drew Chronic scheme. Like they grinded Tulsa into a fine powder. Blake Horvath, had I think over like 21, 22 carries, 159 yards. Not as explosive in the pass game, but they just grinded Tulsa into powder, and they just took that game over as it ends. So I mean, I'm kind of more optimistic in terms of Navy. I guess the Tulsa game, the UAB game, make no mistake about it, was yes, that was very alarming. Um, but I just think we'll see as time goes on. I guess I
Mm-hmm.
mean it is really weird, this race too. Like I'm getting concerned as well that like Penn State is will probably run away with it from the looks of it. Like we haven't had much concerns. It looks like the most complete team in the Northeast right now. But yeah, I mean it makes, I don't know, when there's an actual race, it makes doing this show, covering this trophy more entertaining. But at the end of the day, you have years like this where it's a runaway, and then you have years like other years like 2014 where Rutgers goes 8-5 with a win in the Quick Lane Bowl and wins the Lambert Trophy. So you have years like that too. So I mean, this year, I mean, it seems like a runaway year, but it's just week 3. But I guess going
Right.
back to the team that disappointed me the most, I have to go with the Buffalo Bulls. It's kind of a hot take, I guess, but I think that
Mm-hmm.
Kent State was a team that they should have beaten by a lot more than they did, and they certainly should not have had to come from behind against this Kent State team. I mean, Kent
Mm-hmm.
State. I mean, make no doubt about it. Their interim coach looks like he's trying to play himself into the job. Sorry, coach himself into the job, and so far I'd say he's doing a pretty good job with it. I mean, through 3 weeks, like Buffalo was expected to be a contender in the MAC, but they struggled. I mean, if there is one takeaway for this game, it was Taquan Roberson threw the ball better than he had in the first couple weeks. But I think the struggles they're having in the run game with Alj Henderson are kind of concerning, given the year that Henderson had last year. So I'm not sure if I can. I know Buffalo's 2-1. I'm not sure if I have much stock in Buffalo being dominant. Maybe they'll reach the MAC championship game as a second team, but this is a team that will have to finish better than Toledo and you know Northern Illinois and even Bowling Green too. Like those are just 3 teams right now that so far have looked better than Buffalo in the
Mm-hmm.
MAC. So um, Maybe it's just a fluke. Maybe they'll knock off the rust against Troy this next week because Troy looks like a good team to have a bounce back, a good team for the defense to figure things out, given the way that Troy has not been able to throw the ball. But I mean, I just can't say I was impressed with Buffalo, especially on defense. I mean, they let that Kent State passing game just have. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it was better than what Kent State has done in the first couple weeks, especially against Merrimack, where Kent State barely
in
cracked 200 yards.
years.
Oh, in years. Yeah, exactly. In years. I mean, that's not exaggeration either, Bobby. So I'd have to say Buffalo kind of disappointed me against Kent State, but kudos to Kent State for, man, just, I guess, proving us all wrong, honestly. I know I expected them to lose to Merrimack with the situation that was at hand, but yeah, Buffalo, just probably my biggest disappointment.
I give Kent State, and I know this is not a topic we should be covering on here, but like I give them credit because Akron seems to not care, and with the sanctions that they have, like they're just like, in my personal opinion, from what I've seen, they're just not playing as hard. I give Kent State a lot of credit; they're competing and playing hard.
Well, that's a good point. I forgot Akron had a bowl ban slapped on them this year. I actually
Yeah.
forgot that. Wow. Okay, that puts a lot of things into perspective with how their offense has been performing this year. Even though they bounced back against UAB pretty well and scored 28 points,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, I know we're straying away. So this week, I guess going on to the games this week. This week it's not as heavy a slate. We have 5 teams off. I know that you helped me count that off very well. But so for the slate this week, I mean, there's a lot of sneaky good games. Obviously, most of the tension is going to be on Syracuse and Clemson, but there's other good games with solid potential, solid, I guess, close game potential and resume building potential. With Army, North Texas, you have Rutgers, Iowa, which is a sneaky good game. You have, I mean, West Virginia, Kansas, a Big 12 conference game that look good. Even Delaware, FIU is one that I'm kind of
Hmm.
I think we'll kind of clear a muddy bowl picture in Conference USA right now. I mean that's two 2-1 teams that are 2-0 against non-power four teams and have looked good so far against power five against group of five in FCS competition. But I guess going into I guess the games to watch and the questions that follow them. So for Syracuse Clemson, if Syracuse beats the Tigers, are they a legitimate Lambert Trophy contender?
I mean, you can't say no. I uh, I'll be honest. Like I had Clemson preseason number one. I picked them to win the national championship preseason. I mean, obviously, it seems like I've been very wrong about that, but I'm not the only person that did that too. So, but at the end of the day, I mean, that's still a great win for Syracuse. If they're able to go to Death Valley and Clemson and win that game, that is an absolutely huge win for them potentially. That could really springboard them into the ACC race. So, I mean, yeah, you can't say that it wouldn't. Um, I don't think a I don't think a loss necessarily knocks them out either. But at the end of the day, I mean, you beat the team that's preseason, the team picked to win your league. You feel good about it. Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Like I don't think a loss eliminates Syracuse. I just don't think at this point. I don't know if a win helps them as much with the struggles that Clemson has had so far, and it's kind of a shame. Um, but I think it would also, I guess, clear a little bit of the bowl path ahead for Syracuse if they can get that win against Clemson. I mean, I think right now, like the ACC is really hard to predict, like within the middle of the pack because there's just so much parity in the middle. But I mean, and that's the way the ACC always is. There's always one or two teams on top, and then the I
Right.
guess three through 14 of past years, now 3 through 17 is just who knows. I mean, Stanford beating Boston College too, like just
Yeah, who
shows that
saw
who
that
knows
coming?
that might be Stanford's one huge win this year. Like I bet Boston College has a nice year, and that's just the win that Stanford does that Stanford has. Everyone just kind of scratches their head. They've had one every year since 2021. It's really surprising. So I guess going on to our next topic. So for this next week. So Friday night, Fox Friday night, got Rutgers versus Iowa. That I'm excited for that one that they were able
I'm
to get.
excited. Yes.
Yeah, like I'm excited for this one too because man, I don't think Rutgers has beaten Iowa yet in Big Ten play. I think they can. This is a different Rutgers team, Ethan Kaliakmanis is third in the Big Ten in passing yards. I think he's over. Adrian Sayin or Julian Sayin. Sorry, Adrian Sayin was a quarterback for Penn that was really good, but he's over Julian Sayin right now. I know Sayin got removed against Grambling because they were up by a lot, but man, Kaliakmanis is throwing the ball around. I mean, Shiano likes to run the ball, but how seriously should we take Rutgers as a Lambert Trophy candidate with a win over Iowa to start 4-0?
I think you really can take it seriously. I really do. Because, yes, Iowa, you have the questions offensively, but this is still a very solid team and a very solid program. We know year in, year out what Iowa brings to the table. They're going to probably be about around the 8-win mark every single year. That's just who Iowa is. It's what they do. And Rutgers is one of those teams, and I know we keep saying this. They're scheduled, and all this, but I mean, they just keep winning. And they, like we said, they have some really solid wins. Yes, they were against MAC teams, but still, we know how much I like Ohio. Beating Miami, Ohio was a huge win. Now you get a great opportunity here against Iowa, and I think Rutgers is going to win this game. I really do. They're at home. I think it's just going to be a great atmosphere there. And like you said, Ethan Kaliakmanis has really stepped up, progressed at the quarterback position, and I'm really excited to watch this game Friday night. I really am.
Yeah, I agree, honestly, and I'm not sure I've seen so much from that to be impressed with Iowa's offense. Honestly, their defense is still elite, of course, but if they fall behind, I'm not really convinced that they could, track me with Rutgers. And who would be saying that about Rutgers' offense with it being, I guess, a track me? But all you have to do against Iowa is just get ahead a little bit, couple possessions, 10 points or so, and it's a track meet, honestly. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like you said with Rutgers, they keep winning. You can't blame them. And I know that we said in earlier podcasts, like the past couple of weeks, where it's like, if Greg Schiano and the Scarlet Knights start 3-0, I'm not putting it past them to get to bowl eligibility. Because Greg Schiano is that coach that can just scrape out a couple wins at a time, scrape out wins he's not supposed to get, and he's one of the best coaches in college football. The record may not be great, but I don't think people really encompass how hard it is to win at Rutgers before he was
Right,
there, or how hard it
right.
was. So I mean, yeah, I'm excited for Friday night. I'm glad Rutgers is getting a Friday night slot on Fox Friday night for the second year in a row. The Washington game last year was great. It was a good
Yes.
atmosphere on TV. So that was good for them. So you never know. Rutgers might be in the top 2 or 3 in the Lambert Trophy race if they end up beating Iowa this past week. That'll be a storyline to watch. So going on to, I guess, the final storyline of this week. So Temple has number 18 Georgia Tech. This is an impressive resume win for the Owls, and I think I want to ask, like, if Temple beats Georgia Tech, I guess how forgivable is the win or is the loss to Oklahoma in their Lambert Trophy resume?
I mean, I think it has to be very because I think Oklahoma has proved a lot thus far this season. I think that they're a real contender in the SEC. They have a gauntlet ahead of them from their SEC schedule perspective. If you want, go ahead and go look at that. It's pretty crazy. But as Oklahoma keeps winning, it only looks better for Temple. And it's going to be interesting to see this game. Georgia Tech is coming off a huge monumental win for them against Clemson, and it kind of puts them in the driver's seat to potentially get to the ACC title game down the road. You tend to see this a lot when you have those big wins, those big upsets. You kind of come crashing down a little bit the next week. It's going to be really interesting to see how Georgia Tech responds in that regard. I love their coach. I think he's gonna. I think they're in great hands. I don't. If there's a program that I trust with the leadership to not allow them to fall after such a great win, I think it's this coaching staff.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think Georgia. I think Brent Keyes. I don't think they've had much of a. I don't think they've had an upset loss. I'm going to say non-conference play. They've taken care of business from what I remember. This is a far cry from
Mhm.
the Jeff Collins team that took on that Temple team in 2019, and really got embarrassed 24-2
Right.
at the link. So I would agree, and I think like you said, if Oklahoma keeps winning and Temple, keeps winning in the American, if it were to happen, I know it's a long shot, but this is a different Temple team. I think that Casey Keeler is still showing progress because. I mean, 28-3 at halftime against Oklahoma. That's not good, but it's also not horrible. It's also
It's
on
not
par. It's
horrible.
not a national
Yeah.
embarrassment.
Right. Right. I don't think that their performance last week is anything that I mean, yes, you want to win the game. You want to make it competitive and this and that. But I think you went out there and you held your own for longer than probably a lot of people thought you would, which shows me that this program is growing. And I'm not surprised because Casey Keeler is such a good coach. But if you look at last year's Temple team or the teams prior to that, I mean, Oklahoma would have been up by 50, 60 points by halftime. You look at this one, you look at this year's version. I mean, yes, like I said, you want to be more competitive in that game. You want to be there, but you're definitely making steps in the right direction. And I think like you watch this Temple team, and I mean, there's no reason why they can't make a bowl game this
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with it's the American always has kind of, I guess the gap between top to bottom is really wide in the American, probably the widest in all the Group of Five, if not every conference in the FBS. So I can see Temple snagging a couple wins against that sort of bottom slash middle tier of the American, and Evan Simon too. They just got to keep Evan Simon protected
year.
because
Yes,
I
yes.
definitely do think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the Group of Five. I still remember from I wasn't saying that last year, but I knew that they had something at least when he threw all those touchdown passes against Utah State and had over 400 yards. So I knew that they had something, but the pass protection was horrendous. This year they have solid, better pass protection. They actually have a run game with Jay Ducker. So this is a team to watch out for. And I think with this Georgia Tech game, I think I was going to go. I do think Georgia Tech will pull ahead early, but I think Temple will kind of continue to be a thorn in their side a little bit. I don't think the game will be over per se until mid to late fourth quarter. Like I'm expecting something around like the range of like 30. I would say probably like 35-10, maybe 35-14 ish, where the Temple just kind of hangs around. They're never neck and neck with Georgia Tech, but that's just my thoughts. I guess not gambling advice, but I can see this Temple team growing and with Casey Keeler too as coach, like the problem, like
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a future college football Hall of Famer. Just depends on what his win percentage is, if it's high enough. But if his win percentage meets the threshold, this is a college football Hall of Famer, no doubt, as a coach. So
Absolutely.
amazing, amazing coach. But going on to the rest of the slate, just looking at the different games, Army North Texas is a very amazing clash of styles. North Texas fresh off a win against Washington State, where the offense was good, but the defense really paved the way for that offense with 5 turnovers. You don't always say that. We have not been saying that about North Texas's defense the past couple of years under Eric Morris. So that will be interesting. And then Army, of course, plays well with that style of keeping teams off the field. So that will be interesting to watch at noon. So you have Buffalo against Troy, as mentioned earlier. UConn with a bounce back against Ball State. And Ball State is looked kind of scrappy so far against the teams they've played. Again, kind of like not embarrassed by who they've played, but a little bit scrappy there. Kyle Kelly, I'm a fan of Kyle Kelly. I think he's a very solid dual threat quarterback. West Virginia, Kansas. West Virginia can continue the momentum there. And then Delaware FIU is another one that I'm excited for. Of course, I
Sneaky
mean,
good game.
very, very good. And I think it's a very revealing game in Conference USA. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to go as far as to say it'll reveal a contender or a pretender, but kind of feels that way where it's like there's
Mm-hmm.
that wonder where it's like with FIU, it's like, is FIU actually legitimate? More so FIU than Delaware. Is
Mm-hmm.
FIU legitimate, honestly? But I mean, man, like Willie Simmons, great coach. That was
Great coach.
yeah. If it's not this year, I think next year they will be. They will be back in
Mm-hmm.
bowl season, back to the FIU of the Butch Davis days. So rounds out the slot. Pitt, Navy, Penn State, UMass, and Boston College are all off. So still a very wide array of games to watch. 8 games in total. But before we sign off, Bobby, do you have anything final to add?
No, obviously we're excited for for this week. I mean, we get a Lambert Trophy game on Friday night, and it's probably going into it arguably the game of the week when it comes to the Lambert Trophy perspective. I'm really excited about the Army North Texas game, like you said, and I think we're gonna learn some things this week. Yeah, we got some. The top two are off, yes, but we're gonna learn a lot about this middle pack here this week.
Yes, I agree. And I think with the middle pack, we're going to learn about who's going to be in the postseason or not in general. Like who's going to be in bowl games, like your Delaware, like your I'd say your Delaware, your Buffalo. Even I think there might be even concerns about Buffalo being reaching bowl eligibility with how disappointing the run game has been at times. But yeah, like I mean, I think that's a very succinct and accurate way to put it. Where we're gonna learn some things. Even Army, like is Army? I guess is Kansas State just a bad Power Four team, or is Army the real deal? So we'll all find it out this weekend. But thanks again, Bobby, for joining as always. At this late hour and talking Northeast college football. It's always fun. Always love our chats, both football and outside of football lines. Thank you, everyone, for joining, for watching this, and for having a vested interest in the Lambert Trophy. Um, Northeast football is great. Hopefully, we can get it back. We can gradually get it back to the levels that it was back when Ernie Davis won the Heisman, or when when college football ran through the Northeast, when it was the epicenter of the college football world. And epicenter might be a bit of an exaggeration, but at least hopefully it'll have more attention over time. But thank you, Bobby. Thank you, everyone, for joining and watching. And Lord bless you. Lord keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. And until next time, everyone, peace, love, and soul in the burger popper.